Welcome to this very important video about focus. Focus is something that we all want as professional working mums who want to be able to focus on our work and get stuff done, focus on our to-do list, and really be able to focus and be present with our children. And yet, it is something that we find so difficult. I don't know about you, but I know that I often have those weeks where you are busy from morning to night, doing, and yet Friday comes and you still feel guilty and behind and scattered, and that you just haven't got on top of everything. I mean, you've ticked off the lists, you've replied to the school messages, all the messages from people that have come at you, you've made sure everybody's fed and functioning, but it still doesn't feel like you've done enough. It still feels like there is so much to do, and for some reason you just can't seem to stop putting your hand up to do more. You find yourself, I'll do it, saying yes to WhatsApps, saying yes to work functions, saying yes to new deadlines, and you just get yourself into this cycle of doing. And what I want to say before we even get started here is that the cycle that we get caught up in is not a time management problem. We think if I'm just a little bit more organized, if I just block things out, time block things out, if I just diarize better, I'd be better. But this is actually an energy management problem. And the problem arises when we treat everything in our lives as equally important, when we treat everything that we have to do or everything that we've got on our list as things we have to do. And so today I want to show you a simple framework that will help you to stop balancing it all and instead to start focusing on what is it that really matters? What are the things that I really want to do? And what is it that drains me of energy and time? And this is what I call this 3-zone, I have to get it right, it's a tongue twister, the 3-zone focus framework. And this is a wonderful, very simple way to quite simply simplify your life. Now, what I have found is that most working mums I coach are not short on motivation. They want to get stuff done. They are not short on systems. Like I say, they are time blocking, they have got things in order, or they would like to have things a bit more organized. So maybe they have set up and tried many systems, maybe they have not, but they are just overwhelmed by all that has to be done and they cannot understand why. The problem we have is that we may have systems in place, but it's not the system that doesn't work. It is that we, my clients, you are over functioning. We are giving equal energy to things that don't deserve equal energy or don't hold equal weight. So maybe an email that comes in is getting the same emotional load as your child's bedtime, or a presentation that you've got to give is getting the same internal pressure from you as your marriage is. Maybe the laundry is being treated like a KPI that you have to achieve in order to be good enough. But when everything on your list feels essential, feels urgent, and then what happens is that nothing actually is. Everything gets blurred into a big never-ending list of have-tos that just keeps kind of rolling on. It never gets done. And this is the exhaustion, for overwhelm, for burnout, for just wanting to throw in the towel and crawl under the duvet and never come out. So first of all, how do we recognize that this is happening for us individually? Is this happening for me? And then what do we do about it if it is happening? Well, if you have so much on your plate that you feel guilty all the time because you aren't present where you want to be, or maybe you never have a moment for yourself to do the things that bring you joy, maybe you are ratty and reactive, well, tick, this is happening for you. And if you've watched this far, then I imagine that it is happening for you. So that is one question out of the way. The next question is, what do we do about this? And this is where I can help. This is where the 3-zone focus framework comes into being. So this framework breaks your life down into 3 layers, 3 zones. We've got what I call the essential zone, then the maintenance zone, and then the let go zone. And this framework is a way of sorting your responsibilities instead of by urgency, sorting them out by meaning. Because when you can see what truly matters specifically to you, what then also simply keeps things running, and then what it is that's draining your energy unnecessarily, then you have the space and the tool to finally choose what you want to do and what you want to let go of, and then take a breath in that space that you've created by not doing it all, by not taking it all on, by not putting your hand up to do everything that comes along. So what does this look like? I'm going to draw on the flip chart here for those who can see. For those listening on the podcast, I'm going to draw 3 concentric circles. You can, if you want, pause me and maybe draw these circles on a piece of paper for yourself and fill things in as we go along. So in the middle of the circles, we've got this initial zone, the essential zone. In this zone is what truly matters. I'm just going to note here the essential zone. This is your core. This is made up of the things that align with your values, the things that really are important to you. It's made up of the activities that support your vision, support your goal, the things that you want to do that really represent the woman that you want to be. Or maybe it's even the things that you do that remind you of what it was like when you were the woman you were before you had so many responsibilities. So many of us lose sight of that woman that we were before we had children, before we had households to run, before we had jobs to go to. So in your essential zone here might look like adventure, perhaps, or maybe it is presence, or it's connection. It's in this zone, the things that energize you, the things that make you feel alive, the things that are, as I've said before, important to you, not important to anyone else or important to you because they're important to everyone else, but what's important to you. Now, one of the biggest issues we have around this zone is that most of us have absolutely no idea what it is that is important to us. We've been living our lives based on what matters to others for such a long time that we've lost sight of what matters to us. So the first step is to find out what your values are, what is important to you, what matters to you, what energizes you. And then to know that these are the parts of your life that deserve your best energy, your best attention, not just your leftover time, which sadly is what we often give these things because there is so much going on in the other zones. So in this zone, as I've mentioned, this might include connection or presence. It might include rest. It might be purpose-driven work. Maybe it's creativity. It may well not include baking for every bake sale, but you do this because you feel that you have to. So watch out for those things that you put in that zone because you feel like they are important because they should be. The problem that we have is that when we have been living under the good girl or the achiever or maybe people-pleasing conditioning for such a long time, everything that we are doing feels essential. So the first step of resilience here is being brave enough, being strong enough to make this essential zone small on purpose. So the number of things within the zone, it itself is big because it takes up the majority of your time, but the number of tasks, the number of things within that zone is a small list. This is difficult, but this is what I help my clients do inside my coaching program, Resilient. It's to get out from under that conditioning, to really decide what is essential for me, to keep that zone small so that you can focus on the things that matter. Because, as I say, it is so easy to keep everything that is meant to be kept in the other two zones kind of stuffed into this essential zone. And then you end up with no time to breathe, no time to rest, no time to connect, no time to actually enjoy your life. So that is the essential zone. The next circle we have is what I call the maintenance zone. I'm just going to write it in here, the maintenance zone. Now, in this zone, we do the things that keep life functional. So these are the repetitive, practical tasks that make your life run. You have to do them. But these tasks don't define your worth. They don't define your value. So these are things like meal prep, like the laundry that has to get done. It's not a KPI, it just has to get done. Like planning play dates, doing the shopping, the logistics of everybody. These are things that can often, but we don't necessarily do that, can often be simplified. These are the things that can be systematized if we don't keep them stuffed into that essential zone. Very often these are the things that can be shared, but we often overcomplicate these things because of perfectionism, because of our over-functioning, because of our people-pleasing ways that we hold onto, and these sneak in here and keep us stuck in trying to do more than we necessarily need to in this zone. So you know that you have drifted too far or got too stuck in the maintenance zone or brought the maintenance zone into your essential zone when you are alphabetizing your inbox or you're rewriting your grocery list for the 15th time instead of actually just sitting down and resting. Does anybody else do that? I know that I have done that myself many times in the past. So how do we stop doing that? Well, in this zone, you can ask yourself, what is a good enough version of this task? Just asking yourself that simple question can give you hours of your life back. And it is a very important question because while you can do a task to just good enough and you don't have to do it over and over and over again to make it perfect, you can also then delegate some of these tasks because knowing that good enough is not necessarily perfect or not necessarily even done your way is enough. It's just done means that you can let go of control of some of these things in the maintenance zone. And then we come to the final zone. Now, this zone is a very hard zone to fill for us when we are stuck. It's a very easy zone to fill once we have built our resilience because we realize that so many things can go into this zone. But this is what I call the let go zone. And in this zone, we fill it with all of the tasks that drain your time and energy. And this is where the biggest freedom lives when it comes to owning your time. These things in the let go zone are the things that you carry, the things that you do because of obligation or because of guilt or because of some kind of identity, that people pleaser, that perfectionist, that good girl, not because they are of value to you, not because they hold any significance, importance to you. So, what might get you stuck in this zone, stuck doing these things, spending time on these things? Things that we all do get us stuck here. Things like saying yes to avoid disappointing someone. Things like over preparing so that you don't look stupid or careless or like you don't know what's going on. Maybe it's carrying emotional load or doing emotional labor that is not yours, like caring for a grown-up sibling, or maybe it's supporting a friend to the point of taking on their emotional load. Now, something fascinating that I have observed in all of my clients is the moment that you try to put one of these things down, the moment that you try to let go of some of these things, your nervous system suddenly says, oh, we can't do that. It suddenly protests. You may feel anxious or you feel guilty. You have this kind of experience like you're being irresponsible. But I have got some great news for you. When this happens for you, it's not a weakness. It's not a character flaw. It's not even a personality strength. Maybe it feels like a strength. It's none of these things. It is just wiring. It is because your brain, as it has grown and developed, has linked doing all of these things with your worth, with your value. So your brain believes that if you are being useful, you will be safe, because then you will be accepted, then you will be loved, then you'll be affirmed and appreciated, then you will belong. So, if you go through these zones and plot all your tasks in them, these are my essentials, these are my maintenance tasks, and these are my let go zone tasks. And you look at that let go zone and you think, oh, but I can't not do that thing. I can't not do that thing. That is where the real work begins. That will show you that you do not have a time management issue. You have an identity issue. There is what I call a false or a conditional identity running your diary. And when you can quieten her voice, that perfectionist or that people pleaser or that achiever or that good girl, those are just a few of these conditional identities. When you can quieten her down, when you can stop her from shouting out the rules at you, then you will be able to choose what you do with that let go zone rather than running around doing it all. You will own your time. You will own your energy in a way that you never thought possible. So when you start sorting your life through these three zones, you're going to immediately notice that two things happen. Well, notice two things. First of all, you're going to notice that you have probably been carrying far more than your fair share of things that you need to do that are essential. You have been carrying things that many, many other people can do, or things that need to be deleted, or things that can be done at a much, I don't want to say lower standard, but with less time and energy poured into them. And then you will notice that the things that actually matter have been waiting for you underneath all of that noise, underneath all of the doing. They are there waiting for you to give them the time and the attention that you long to give them in that essential zone. So as we come to the end of this short training, I want you to know that you do not need to get more done to feel calm and at ease. You just need to focus on what is actually essential, what is actually yours to do, and then let go of the rest. Whew, what a relief. So there is a guide that goes with this episode. If you have already downloaded the guide, take 10 minutes after you've watched me to go through and fill in your three zones. If you haven't, then there is a link to it in the notes in this video or in the show notes of the podcast. I walk you through it step by step, walk you through this zone focused framework step by step so that you don't have to think about things. You just take the time to reflect, take the time to gently think about what fits into your 3 zones. You are going to find such freedom in going through this process. But as I've said, you may well find yourself stuck because, like most people, even when you know exactly what belongs in that let go zone, it is so hard to let it go. And this is not because you lack willpower. It's not because you lack any kind of strength. It's because your identity is still attached to that false or to that conditional identity I mentioned earlier. It's attached to the cycle of overfunctioning or perfectionism or people pleasing, but it does not need to be that way. So if that's where you are, I would love to invite you to a free 30-minute stress mapping call. In this call, we have a lovely, calm conversation where we are going to uncover those identities that are keeping you stuck there. We're going to look at the stress that they are causing internally, not the stress that's being caused by your schedule. And we're going to create a 30-day plan where you can start to make space in your schedule, in your life, so that you can really focus on those things that matter. So book your spot through the link in the description or the show notes. It's complimentary, but spaces each week are limited. And as we come to a close, I just want to remind you that the world today tells us we can do anything. And because of this, we believe we are meant to do everything. But you are not meant to do everything. You are meant to do the things that matter to you. You're meant to do them with energy and purpose and peace. And the 3-zone focus framework is going to help you to see that. And your stress mapping call will help you to live that out. So I can't wait to see you there and to help you begin that journey back to this place of ease and of joy.